Now we have loops. So this is the last session that we have for today. And what is a loop? So loop is something that you want to do in a iterative way. That means you want to do it continuously. For example, if I am asking you to print the numbers from 1 to 10, so there are two approaches to do this. Okay, in any programming language, there is two approaches to do this. The first one is to use the println and then write println 1, println 2, println 3, println 4 until you can just type println 10. Okay. Now there is another method to do this, and that is by using a for loop, a loop, or a while loop. Okay. So these are the looping statements. Now in looping statement, it actually reduces the amount of code that you need to type by specifying a loop function. Okay. Now the first kind of loop is loop itself. Now it might be a bit confusing because most languages never use this word called as loop as a loop. Okay, so in Rust you have a loop which is named as a loop. Okay, just put that in mind. Now it is an unending loop. Okay, so by default, if you specify a loop, it is an unending loop. That means it is like executing till infinity. So now in this kind of a loop, there is an issue. Unending loops are a bit riskier because it tends to execute till your memory is over. Okay, so you don't want such scenarios to happen. So what you do is you specify an if condition inside so that you can break the code. Okay, I will see an example so that it's clear to you. I think we have the control flow and just no. Yeah. So here, initially, I'm going to set a variable mute count is equal to 0. Okay. And now I'm going to call the loop so that now what happens? Now this stuff which is placed inside the loop now, it will be executed infinite times unless it is breaked by a condition. So initially count is 0. It enters the loop and it checks, okay, is count less than 5? So 0 is less than 5. So it will print ln hello, right? And then count will be incremented by 1. So my current value of count will be 1. Now else break. What is else break? So if count is greater than or equal to 5, then the loop will be broke off at that point of time. Okay. So this loop will be executed like exactly five times from count value 0 to count value 4. Because when count value becomes 5, this condition will be false, right? Count will be not less than 5, count will be equal to 5. And in that kind of a condition, what happens? You will break. The break is used to break off from a loop. I think you got the idea. Okay, I'll try executing all this. And before that, we will discuss two different other kinds of loops. And then we will come back to the execution part. Now, you have to have a while loop. Now, what is a while loop? So while loop is a particular loop where you actually specify the condition beforehand. So it is actually not a unending loop, although while loops tend to be unending if your condition is already wrong. Now, initially I said count equal to 0. And while count less than or equal to 5, I can just increment the count plus. So how will this execute? So initially count is 0 and 0 is less than 5. So my count gets incremented to 1, right? And now again this 1 is coming upside and it's checking 1 less than or equal to 5. So it is less than 5. So again it increments the count by 1. So now my count value right now is 2. Now it executes still how many values? So it executes still count equal to 5, right? Now when count equal to 5, 5 is less than or equal to 5, right? So it will increment count, and now the count value becomes 6. And when 6 comes back to the loop header, what happens is 6 less than or equal to 5 is actually false. So it does not get executed. So it will stop when count value is equal to 6. Okay. And this is the while loop. You just need to specify the while keyword and then write the condition. Okay. I can show you an example for the while loop. This is a while loop. So initially we set mute number equal to 3, and then while number not equal to 0, this is not equal to, you can print that number, and you can just use the number minus equal to 1. Okay. So number minus equal to 1. So each time you are reducing the value of the number by 1 until and unless it becomes 0, this loop will be executed, and whenever it becomes 0, the loop will be broke off or halted. Now you also have one more loop that I want to discuss, and then we will end the session. Okay, that is a for loop. So for loop is the, like, if you are going to write a loop, most probably you would be only writing a for loop, because you know how many times that loop needs to be executed beforehand. And for loop is considered as like the safest loop, because you are actually going to give all the conditions predefined into the loop, and it will only execute till that value that you specify. Okay. And yeah, so for loop executes the number of times as explicitly given. So here, when I type for I in 0 to 4, so when you type 0 dot dot 4, it means it will be executed from I equal to 0 to I equal to 3. Okay, it is always executed to n minus 1. If you type in 0 dot dot n, then the I value will only go till n minus 1. So if you want to execute something 5 times, then you will just place 0 to 5. So it will be executed 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? So it will be executed 5 times. So only it will be executed till n minus 1. I value ranges from 0 to 3. Because you have entered with 4, the value will be ranging from 0 to 3. And it will execute 4 times because it will print the hello world. Now I will see the examples. So here what we are trying to do is we are trying to make some loops, as you have seen before. Like this is conditionals, and then we have a count 0, count less than 5, it will print a hello. It's a normal loop. And we also have another loop which is using an if else condition. Counter is when it happens to be like 2. And then we have a while loop which prints the number like until it is 0, and your number is actually decremented by 1. And we are using a for loop which is actually looping over through the elements. Okay, like see the output and I will discuss it. Okay, so Rust C control flow. Okay, now the first thing that we discussed was the first thing that we have here is the number is the conditional statements we have discussed is condition was true. That is the first output that you can see. Okay, now we're coming to the loop condition. As you can see, the count was initially set to 0 and it will be printed 5 times. You can see count hello 1, hello 2, hello 3, hello 4, and hello 5. So 5 times you have printed using the loop state. Now the result is 20. What is this? This is the next loop condition where you actually use let result equal to. So this is how. Now when you break, there would be a particular value for the variable, right? So that value can be assigned to a variable. Like say you are actually moving through this loop, and each time you are incrementing the counter value by 1. And if counter is equal to 10, you can break. So at that point of time, you can return the value to the variable result. Okay. That is the idea of setting this loop. So what happens? The result is 20. Because when counter equal to 10, counter star 2 becomes 20, right? So when counter equal to 10, it breaks and it will return counter star 2. Now that is a similar case with this one, the while loop. You are just printing the same thing. Now you have a list called like this is an array that is a equal to this. Now you need to iterate through the array. How will you do that? You will do that by for element in A. If you have used Python, then this should be like easy for you like to understand. But even if it's not the case, just listen. Like for element in A, you can place anything here. It shouldn't be like element for I in A, for J in A, like for anything in A. So for it means iterate through each and every element in A. You want to print the element, right? So when I use the anything, I need to also specify this anything here. So you can also print a variable by this method. Okay, just placing the element or the variable name inside the placeholder. There are multiple methods, and the first, the easiest method is to place it like here, anything, and then you just remove this one. Okay, you can have multiple methods to do it. Now, when you do that, you can see each element, right? The value is 10, the value is 20, the value is 30, the value is 40. So it is execute like this, passing through each and every value. Okay. Now, the another case is for number in 1 to 4. As I specified before, 1 to 4 means it will change its value from 1 to 3, right? maximum value would be 3. Now we are using the reverse function. Reverse function means this will be executed in a reverse fashion. Reverse fashion means it will start from 4 and reverse fashion means the indexes will be the same, but then it will be like executed from behind. Okay, so it will start with 3, then it will go to 2, it will go to 1. As I've said before, 1 to 4 will only contain the indices 1, 2, and 3 because it does not contain 4. We can only have n minus 1. Now it is used to we have used the reverse function. Reverse function means you need to actually execute them from the back. So it's not like 1, 2, 3. It's like 3, 2, 1. So we are coming behind, and that is what we do. That is println 3 factorial, 2 factorial, 1 factorial. So that is the idea of the for loop.